I live.
Ganga.
Brought to you by
Hyundai or Hyundai.
Tell me something that makes a bubble bath even more enjoyable.
Candles. Music. Another person?
It was going so well. Until...
How about some toys?
Your daughters are so embarrassed.
all new.
Good answer.
Family Feud.
Brought to you by We Are the Caring Store, waiting to serve you. It's time to experience independent living. Visit us today.
My name is Glenn Titus Campbell. CVM. See it happen.
Welcome to CVM's News at noon for Tuesday, June 3, 2025. I'm Curlin Brown. Only recently, the authorities made the historic discovery of guns and ammunition at a corporate area warehouse destined for criminal hands and the streets of Jamaica. The harrowing find has led one expert to believe there will be need for stricter laws for persons involved in the mass importation of guns, given the country's crime history.
Over 220 A-grade firearms and more than 50,000 rounds of ammunition were recently seized at a location in the corporate area. And although no arrests have yet been made, the investigations will hopefully yield some penalties for those involved. Criminologist Dr. Jason Mackay, in commending law enforcement on the historic find, says these are radical times requiring radical penalties.
So a find like this with 220 guns, tens and tens of thousands of ammunition, you've way crossed the bar of a single victim or single victims. You're looking on what could damage a society on a whole. Now our biggest threat in this particular society is the gun issue. The guns are the ones killing the people. So when persons are importing them in mass, you go beyond looking on life imprisonment and 25 years. Now you have to find a way that the people will stop doing it. And the only way you're going to get that is when you have a state-sanctioned, systematic execution of persons involved in that type of activity. That alone is going to stop it from happening. Nothing else.
He notes, had those weapons made their way onto the streets, much of the gains made in crime fighting since 2024 would be at risk with increased bloodshed.
If it really continues like this, it's going to have such a dramatic impact on the country where they're being armed at this rate, where guns are being sold at this rate, that you may reach to a point where they can challenge the government for control.
Dr. Mackay says while those involved in this seizure may not be slapped with the measures he's proposing, he's of the view others may attempt.
More guns than the parish of St. Catherine recovered last year in totality. And that is one of the most successful gun recovery parishes in the country last year. I mean, to put it in perspective, St. Thomas recovered 4 guns last year in the entire parish. You introduced 220. An even greater way to think of it, 220 guns being introduced into the streets of London could change the very culture of crime in London.
Nika Lewis ending that report. Now, the community of Cash Hill in Hanover has been plunged into mourning following the death by drowning of 8-year-old Romaine Beckford. Reports from the Lucy police are Romaine went to the Cobber Falls River in Mount Peace district with his father on Sunday morning. There was also another boy with them. Romaine and the other child were reportedly left wading at a shallow section of the river, while the father went for a swim in deeper waters. The report further states Romain lost his footing and fell into the water and was swept away by the current into a huge waterhole. Now, an alarm was raised and the father attempted to rescue his son. However, he was obstructed by poor visibility and the strong current. The fire department and the police were summoned, and after several attempts, young Romain's body was fished from the river at about 2 o'clock that afternoon. A collision between a motor vehicle and a truck close to 6 on Sunday evening along the main road in Rocky Hill, St. Elizabeth, left the driver of one of the vehicles hospitalized in a critical condition. Sources indicate other occupants from both motor vehicles also received injuries. Now, the vehicles were traveling in opposite direction when, upon reaching a section of the Rocky Hill main road in the vicinity of Coffee Lane, the Toyota Allion motor car, which was traveling towards Santa Cruz, reportedly failed to keep to the left of the road and collided with the motor truck. The scene was visited by the Santa Cruz police, who are investigating the matter. Detectives assigned to the Clarendon Police Division have arrested 3 persons, 2 males and a female, in connection with the murder of a woman who was reported missing and was subsequently found dead on Sunday, June 1. Dead is 19-year-old Derica Rogers, a sales representative of Gravel Hill District, Clarendon. Her decomposed body was found during a search of a premises at D-Side in Milk River. The individuals in custody, the names of the individuals in custody are being withheld pending further investigations. On CVM's lead story Monday, political commentator Damon Gordon weighed in on the People's National Party's protest against the appointment of Dennis Chung as Chief Technology Officer for the FID. He says the PNP's demonstration is justified in an election era such as this. However, other strategies could be considered.
Election year, demonstrating that you can mobilize your base around these issues is very important. But beyond that, as I said, the party, in order for the party to articulate its broader concerns to a more a non-partisan audience, a broader audience, it needs to also use other forums to reach a diverse audience. I say this to say that individuals who are not tuned into this type of event, who perhaps pay close attention to the discussion segments on traditional media, TV and radio, I think on the televised programs, I think this is an opportunity. This creates a more sober, a quieter, personalized space for them to listen attentively to the concerns as articulated in a sober manner. And I think this platform, that this type of approach to public discussion would resonate more with the non-partisans. But there is value in this approach because...
Do stay with us for lots more to come right here. We'll be right back.
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winfred Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
They're Feud's biggest fans.
We love
Y'all gonna have to get some fans.
Join the club.
So I decided to do something special.
But it really matches his skin. Which is scary.
Family Feud.
I look like a tattoo on this big Italian dude's chest.
Brought to you by We Are the Caring Store, waiting to serve you. It's time to experience independent living. Visit us today.
In a world where innovation meets tradition, agriculture is evolving like never before. From the latest sustainable farming technologies to age-old practices passed down through generation, Agriculture is
precious to me.
I love the animals. I don't mind getting my hands dirty. I love working.
Join us right here on CVM TV every Sunday during news at 7 as we explore the people, the science, and the breakthroughs that are shaping the way we grow, eat, and live. You don't want to miss it. This is Farming Forward.
Hey everybody, I'm Yendi, and this is Odyssey with Yendi. In this space, we connect with some of your favorite people as they share their journeys. Here we have some unfiltered conversations as we deep dive into their inspirations, motivations, and experiences to inspire our own life journey.
Welcome back and thanks so much for staying with us. Continuing on a story we mentioned earlier, the opposition People's National Party yesterday took to the streets in protest of the controversial appointment of Dennis Chung. The scene of the protest was right in front of the Ministry of Finance under which the FID falls. Our reporter Shantae McNeil was there and she filed this report.
Last Thursday, the opposition People's National Party warned the government that if the appointment of Dennis Chung wasn't rescinded within 72 hours, there would be consequences felt all across Jamaica. Now, with his appointment taking effect today, the opposition is making good on its promise, staging a protest right here at the National Heroes Park, just across from the Ministry of Finance.
The Financial Investigations Division under the Ministry of Finance is charged with tackling financial crimes and recovering criminal assets through the Proceeds of Crime Act. But controversy now clouds the FID following the appointment of Chung tied to two of Jamaica's most high-profile financial probes, including the alleged multi-billion-dollar fraud uncovered at investment firm Stocks and Securities Limited (SSL) and his public views last year, where he questioned the relevance of some findings in a report, including the movement of millions of dollars among companies linked to Prime Minister Andrew Holness and how a company with limited income provided a $20 million loan to another linked entity. Despite intermittent rainfall, opposition leader Mark Golding stood firm, denouncing Chung's appointment as a blow to good governance and rubbished Prime Minister Andrew Holness's claims that their disapproval is a result of badmindism.
It is nothing to do with bad mind. It is good mind at play. Good mind supporting good governance. Good mind fighting against corruption. Good mind standing against conflicts of interest. Good mind standing against cronyism and nepotism.
Holness had also called on his supporters to stage counter-protest against the PNP stance, some of which were seen today at the nearby intersection of Wild Street and Moresco Road, chanting third term for the Holness administration, and claimed the PNP's opposition to Chung's appointment was just about politics. But Golding fired back, calling it a desperate display from a desperate government.
And for the Prime Minister to call upon his supporters to protest today against bad mind was a new low in the governance of this country and reflects the desperation that he feels because he knows that the people of Jamaica have had enough of this government under his leadership and they want change.
And as for opposition spokesperson on national security Peter Bunting, who strongly contends Chung isn't a competent nor appropriate candidate for the role, he says with the FID being a representative in the Egmont Group of Financial Intelligence Units, this poses a confidentiality challenge.
And those of us who have worked in national security would understand intelligence is only shared to the extent you have confidence in the other party.
That's right.
No self-respecting financial intelligence unit would feel comfortable and confident sharing anything with Dennis Chung.
No,
none.
Bunting argues this is a strategic move to shield the Prime Minister from future scrutiny at the cost of the country's financial credibility. Former Finance Minister Dr. Peter Phillips joined the chorus of condemnation, warning this could push Jamaica toward economic collapse.
Jamaica has been trying for a long time to develop Jamaica as an international financial center. If you appoint Dennis Chung, you can kiss that goodbye. Yeah. So it's not a matter for just the Prime Minister, whether you like him or his friend. It is a question of weakening Jamaica and weakening the financial integrity of Jamaica.
Phillips urged well-thinking Jamaicans to take a stand and asked for how far they're willing to go.
And if it takes a week, a month, a year, we will not let it stand. So I want to say to the comrades, be prepared, get ready, be prepared to go the length and breadth of Jamaica, be prepared to go north, south, east, west, but we will not let this travesty stand.
Shante McNeil, CVM News.
Meanwhile, members of the Jamaica Labour Party's Communication Task Force hit back with a press conference of its own while the PNP's protest was in progress, calling the PNP's actions inappropriate and also dismissed suggestions the government conveniently changed the job description for the FID's Chief Technical Director. Here's more from Andre Jebinson.
While the People's National Party PNP was at Hero Circle protesting the appointment of Dennis Chung as Chief Technical Director of the Financial Investigations Division FID, the Jamaica Labour Party was countering at their Belmont Road headquarters.
The Jamaica Labour Party condemns as vulgar and inappropriate the action taken by the PNP in the vicinity of Hero Circle this morning in relation to the appointment of Dennis Chung as Chief Technical Director of the FID.
JLP Communications boss Abka Fitzhenley argued that the government's position is not a defense of Chung, but rather a pushback against the PNP's action. He said it's a Public Service Commission PSC that hired Chung for the job.
It is tantamount to an inappropriate and vulgar attack on the PSC and an out-of-order challenge to due process.
The appropriateness of Chung's appointment has been questioned given his previous comments. Chung is on the record questioning the findings of the Integrity Commission's findings into the Prime Minister's declarations. The Integrity Commission recommended that the FID look into the matter.
Mr. Chung has not made any comment which should compel the administration to acquiesce to calls by the PNP for it to make the unusual and improper intervention of interfering with a meritorious process coordinated by the PSC.
On Monday, Fitzhenley argued that Chung's close associates have been told by senior PNP members that he should not take the job,
advising that in the interest of his family, he should decline the appointment. This action by senior members of the PNP is tantamount to inappropriate conduct and serious intimidation.
However, when pressed, he refused to say whether the matter has been reported to the police.
So has the police been informed? Can you share that with us?
I have no knowledge regarding whether there has been intervention by law enforcement concerning this matter.
Fitzhenley also denied that the job requirements were changed to suit Chung.
There are persons who in the past have held the post of Chief Technical Director at the FID who did not necessarily possess qualifications or experience, specifically along the lines of law enforcement. But separate and apart from that, it is to be reiterated and understood that it is the Public Service Commission that superintends, through the Office of the Services Commission, the recruitment of the respective officers.
Andre Jebinson, CVM News.
Now, every year between the months of May and October, heavy dust plumes rise in our atmosphere, negatively impacting the quality of air. The emergence of this Saharan dust raises several health concerns for the vulnerable within our nation. And of course, our newsroom wants to keep you updated.
Jamaicans are utterly concerned about their exposure to plumes of Saharan dust in the atmosphere. According to environmental specialist for occupational health and safety in the Ministry of Health, Marsha Ann Palmer, the resulting reduction in air quality can potentially be a trigger for people with respiratory illnesses.
So the presence of the dust in the air will affect persons who are predisposed to, will affect them more, who are predisposed to respiratory conditions. So if you have chronic COPD, respiratory disorders like asthma, bronchitis, then you are more likely to be affected by the dust.
As this massive cloud of dust blankets most of the island, people are curious as to where it originated. Palmer emphasizes that the Saharan dust has been a recurring issue in the region.
So the Saharan dust phenomenon is not new to Jamaica or the Caribbean. So it happens every year between the months of May and October. It's usually more pronounced during June to July, where we have